Hey, what's up? I decided to do a quick video on how to do a dovetail joint, uh, not for a finished product, but for something like a mantle. So I know everybody wants to do floating mantles nowadays, and I thought I'd cover some details on how to get a nice, strong shelf. So let's pretend that this is the board that you're gonna attach against the wall, and then these are the pieces of wood that you're gonna have attached to this piece of wood here, so that your shelf can slide inside of it. Okay. So a lot of people will say, well, I'm just gonna attach some huge carriage bolts from here and attach them to the studs on the wall, and then that thing is gonna be really strong. But if this is not attached really strong here, this could give in if your kid decides to hang from it. So remember, joints, as anything else, it's only as strong as its weakest part or joint. So if you just do a butt joint, which is where you attach these guys, maybe put a little glue and put some screws behind, this isn't gonna be very strong, which is where your dovetail butt joint comes into play, and this creates a very nice, strong joint. And I'm gonna show you how to do this with really minimal tools and kind of on the job site where you don't have maybe a router table or anything like that. So first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna select the depth of your dovetail or your tail. Okay, in my case, I'm doing a 1 inch depth. Okay, then I'm going to set this angle here, or the distance between this edge and where my tail starts. Okay, in this case, I'm doing, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch, I think, what I did on those. 1/4 of an inch. I believe I did 6/16 or whatever that is. Okay, so you're gonna select your depth. So what I'm gonna do is, once I've selected the depth on all 4 sides, I'm going to connect all 4 of those lines. Okay, that's going to give me cutting surface, or my lines to follow when I'm cutting by hand, because again, I don't have a router table or anything. So I want to make sure that all my lines are connected like so. Okay, then I will select where my tail, and I'll show you what this looks like in just a second. And I'm gonna select, I'm gonna mark these only on 2 sides of my board, which is gonna be there and there. Then I'm going to grab a straight edge or a ruler or a piece of board or whatever you have at hand. In this case, I have a little square. And I'm going to connect this line, or this dot, this intersection, with this intersection, or the corner, and do the same thing on this side. And then I'm gonna flip my board over, and I'm gonna do the same thing, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. And again, this is in a finished carpentry, beautiful, perfect fitting butt joint or dovetail joint. This is going to get covered up by your floating shelf or your mantle or whatever you're doing. So we're not looking for perfection here. There's my marks. There's my marks. Okay. That's gonna end up looking like this. Okay. This is the easy part. Not so hard, but then I'm going to grab the zone that I have here. I'm gonna cut this at that. Okay, to follow that line. That's gonna be a little hard to get the cut started because I'm starting on a very sharp edge here. So I'm gonna use a knife and I'm going to score the very beginning of my cut so that my pole saw can fit in there nicely. Okay. You're not gonna be able to see it, but I've made a tiny cut there and a tiny cut there. And then I start cutting. Careful with your fingers, but I'm gonna use them as a guide. And again, at first is gonna be a little hard to get them going. I'm gonna use my fingers as a guide, being very careful. I'm not gonna go crazy with my cut. I'm gonna do nice, easy passes with my pole saw. Then I'll do a pass on my straight line. And there's the first cut. Then I have to do the other one, which ends up looking like this. Then, what I have to do is set this guy on top of my piece of wood, like so. I'm gonna mark my lines. To mark my depth. And again, this is very rough. I'm definitely gonna clean this up, but I'm gonna cut that out. Then I'll do another video showing you where it fits.